They're to carry out functions. Just consider all the cells working together in one of your organs, like your heart, for example. We're going to be talking a lot about receptors. A receptor is a molecule, such as a protein, where a signal molecule can bind. One place you can find receptors is on the surface of a cell membrane. When a signal molecule binds the receptor, amazing things can happen. The receptor might start activating another molecule for an action to happen. The receptor often changes its shape slightly in the process. More about that later. So, receptor, signal molecules. The signal molecule can be considered a ligand, a fancy term which basically means that it's the smaller molecule that binds to a typically larger molecule. Signal molecules can be a variety of things, such as gas molecules or hydrophobic biomolecules like lipids or hydrophilic biomolecules like some kinds of proteins. But ligands are generally smaller than the receptors they bind. Ligands and receptors can have a very specific fit as well. Let's talk about the general sequence of cell signaling. First, reception. Typically, a signal molecule binds a receptor. Second, transduction. The receptor gets activated by this binding. This often means the receptor will change its shape. It could even involve a whole series of molecules changing their conformation in something called a signal transduction pathway. This can amplify the original signal. Third, response. There's some kind of response that is going to happen. A portion of DNA that is found in the nucleus getting transcribed, for example, that's a type of response. Now, cell signaling can involve intracellular signaling, which occurs within the cell itself, and intercellular signaling, where a cell communicates with another cell. In many cases, signaling involves both, signaling between cells and then also signaling within cells. Now, when we're talking about signals traveling from one cell to another, distance matters. Some cells are close that we encourage you to explore. So in summary, why do we care about the cell signaling thing? Well, realize that your body processes that keep you alive rely on your cell's ability of cell signaling. From the regulation of your heartbeat to the hormone signals traveling long distances in your body to the way neurons in your brain communicate, your multicellular self needs cell signaling. But there are many disorders where cell signaling does not work as it should, and so understanding all of the complexities of cell signaling is critical in order to find ways to treat them. Cancer is an example of a disease that can involve body cells with problems in cell signaling. We mentioned autocrine signaling. A cancer cell could have a problem where it produces too much of its own growth factor, causing excessive cellular division. Cancer cells can also have many other cell signaling difficulties where they do not function like normal healthy cells. Or another example, there are also pathogens, such as viruses or bacteria, that can take advantage of cell signaling. Consider the virus HIV, which targets helper T cells. Helper T cells are important immune cells in your body, and they have something called a CD4 receptor on their surface. That receptor is so important so that helper T cells can communicate with other immune cells. But as mentioned in our viruses video, HIV targets that CD4 receptor. It is because of the virus binding to that receptor on helper T cells that the virus can attach and infect the cell in the first place, a fact that continues to be researched for treatment options. The understanding of the details of cell signaling continues to expand. Well, that's it for the Amoeba Sisters, and we remind you to stay curious.